What's going on, guys? My name is Tyler and welcome back to the channel. As you do know, we are talking about CCIV in this video because they have the most important week coming ahead. July 22nd is going to be the day to vote to merge into Lucid Motors, and then the 23rd will be the day that we actually start trading as Lucid Motors. So this is very exciting. We have a huge potential for a short squeeze, so we're going to go over the ortex data, a little bit of the technical levels. We're also going to acknowledge some FUD where there is quite a bit of articles saying that CCIV is overvalued. And I'm going to be giving you guys my take on this because I think this is the farthest thing from the truth. And if CCIV, or Lucid Motors I should say, can do the numbers that they have said in their filings, then this will be the most undervalued stock quite possibly on the entire stock market. So we have a lot of important information to get into in this video. The only thing that I ask is that you hit that like button for me, as well as comment down below and subscribe to the channel. I do greatly appreciate it. But getting into it, guys, first off, with a little bit of technical action, we have been pretty much trading sideways in between a low of about $22.50 and on the high end about $30. We didn't quite breach $30, but $29.81. So that is going to be a bit of a resistance level after this $33 price point. Though if we do break out to the upside like I do expect, then we don't have a resistance level after that, or at least a credible one. Now, as far as potential downside, which I don't think it's going to happen, and we're going to talk about my reasoning why I think CCIV will rally, you're going to want to watch the $22 price point, because this has been an awesome level of support. In between rallies and lows, we have really bounced off of $22. If we do go under that, that is a big if, then you're going to be looking at $20, and then we're going to get some solid support as well. I don't see us breaking under that. I really don't see us falling whatsoever. I really think we're going to go well past $30 with a possible short squeeze. One of these reasonings is because you're not seeing a lot of hype going into this event. So it's either a buy the rumors, sell the news kind of event, or it's the opposite, right? So if you're buying into something, expecting something to happen, once it happens, it dumps off. It's the opposite. If it's dropping and then something does come out good, like the merger actually goes through, you should see a rally. The biggest reason, though, is that CCIV is a special purpose acquisition company. That is a SPAC. So all of these shares are backed in between $10 and $15 for different SPACs, right? A lot of SPACs are only backed at $10. CCIV, because there was such a high demand, is backed at $15. So if the vote didn't go through and we didn't merge into Lucid Motors, if shareholders just wanted their money back, then you would be refunded these shares at $15 per share. Now, if you are a hedge fund, institution, whoever you are that wants to invest in CCIV, it doesn't make sense to put that much risk on the table. If you are trying to invest $50 million or just $10 million for simple math's sake, and you have the odds or a probability of, 1, 2, 3% of going down 45% on your investment by investing in a SPAC before it actually does start trading as Lucid Motors, you're not going to do that. That is the simple fact here. But on the other hand, you have a lot of people that are concerned about something that has to be passed in order to merge into Lucid Motors, which is a proposal on the ballot that shareholders will be able to vote on July 22nd, which is giving them authorization to issue 15 billion additional shares. Yes, that would be a lot of dilution. Are they going to do this immediately? No, by any means necessary. They're not going to do that. That would put CCIV into a penny stock, literally instantly, if they did that. That is not the case. If you guys are educated on CCIV, this wouldn't even be a concern for you, just because of a lot of other factors. But I think a very important one is that Peter Rawlinson, the CEO of Lucid Motors, he is a majority paid in stock options. So he has most of his money coming from stock options if the company performs well and the share price does go up. He has said that in multiple CNBC interviews. If you guys want that interview, I will post it in a separate video. Just let me know. We'll get you guys that clarity. But that is a simple fact here. They would not destroy the share price if their own personal money was on the line. As well as that, they wouldn't get as much money if they issued 15 billion additional shares. I would say maybe 100 million every 6 months, maybe 200 million every 6 months, but it's not going to be a billion shares every year or every 6 months. That is a huge amount of shares relative to most of the companies on the stock market that have even been around for 100 years. Talk about GE, Coca-Cola, that's relative to how many shares they have outstanding. So that is not going to be the case here. CCIV is just a hyper growth company, and they want the availability to issue shares whenever they want to. So I think those are the two major things that are waning on a lot of investors right now. The fact that this is a SPAC and you're not really going to put millions and millions of dollars into this, if you do have that small percentage that you would lose about 45%, you're not going to be doing that, as well as the fears of dilution. But we will only tell over time if that is going to be the case. But from everything that I have been able to find, all of my due diligence, this is something that I am not concerned about whatsoever. But something else I do want to quickly acknowledge is a lot of the FUD articles that are saying that CCIV stock is overvalued. And yes, if you're comparing it today to price to earnings, they have about a $30 to $35 billion market cap and no earnings. Yes, they would be overvalued, but the company itself, with their own filings, have projected about $22 billion in revenue in 5 years. So by 2026, they project to be doing $22 billion in revenue a year, making, I believe, around $2 billion in profit. Now, if you do calculations based off a $30 billion market cap and you're making $22 billion a year, that is a severely undervalued stock. So that is what you should be buying CCIV for. This is a great trade, I do think, but overall, it's a longer term investment. You're going to want to let your money work for you in CCIV stock or Lucid Motors, whatever you prefer to call it. So I wouldn't pay any mind to the FUD. A lot of these guys saying this have like 6-month outlooks or even 1-year outlooks. That is what price targets are given, are 12-month outlooks. Sometimes people give 6-month outlooks, but for the most part it is 12-month outlooks, and these analysts are very near-term focused. They're not really focused on the larger term picture. But let's get into the Vortex data, give you guys the short interest, everything that I'm looking at. I will go ahead and update this so we have the most accurate information. Keep in mind, Vortex data is sketchy sometimes. Their calculations are off by a couple percentage points, so take this information with a grain of salt. This is just giving you an overall relative idea of how shorted CCIV stock is. First thing I want to point out is the share utilization is at 100%, so there is no additional shares. If there are, there's going to be a couple here and there, but for the most part, there is 0 shares that can be lent out. So that is definitely a positive thing, that people owning the stock don't want to do all this lending to other people to short sell the stock, meaning that it may just be too risky from the people that own the stocks to let other people do these kind of things, right? That's the only logical thing that makes sense there. But the short interchange is 3.21% to the positive. Return shares 1.16 million, borrow shares 3.07 million. So that is a borrow change of 1.91 million. That is T+2 settlement time. So that would put us as far back as last Thursday. Current short interest percentage of free float at 18.88%. Current shares that are sold short of 39.07 million. Now, this might not sound like a lot compared to AMC or some of the other stocks that we cover on this channel, but relative to the overall float and how many shares are outstanding, 18.88% is a very large amount. Also, relative to the volume, we are seeing a pretty much under 10 million in volume for the most part. Some days you're getting to about 12 million in volume, but for the most part it's in between about 8 and 10 million for volume. So if all shorts wanted to cover, it would take 4.47 days. That means it's going to be hard to cover these shares. They're really going to have to pay a lot if we do go into a short squeeze. So that is kind of what I do expect. I think there's going to be a short squeeze, and it's quite obvious if you really connect the dots here. But now let's take a look at my positioning in CCIV stock going into this actual merger. I am holding all 168 of my shares, 12.37% of my portfolio, my average cost of $23.14, market value of $3,840.48. I am now down 1.20% after being up about 20% at the higher moment, down $46.84. Now, I'm excited for the long-term shares. Obviously, I want to get a lot more shares, and I will get more shares, but I'm even more excited for these options because the premium has come down so much. If you really do start to get that momentum and that squeeze effect, then you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck because the premiums have come down, because the cost of buying calls is way lower than it was. So I do have CCIV $30 calls. I have 2 of them. My average cost $168. I bought one at $191. Then last one just July 16th. I believe that was Friday, for $145. It dropped about 25 $5 since I did buy that. So nevertheless, I do think this is a great time to get into options and even shares. Keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, not a financial planner or your dad, so don't listen to anything that is said in this video or any other YouTube video for that matter. But as a total, I have $248 in these contracts. They expire August 20th. Like I said, I have 2 of them. My break even would be $31.68. So I do imply a move over $30. I think that is what is likely to happen, especially considering how many shorts we do have in the stock. But as far as the other option trade that I do have in this is I sold a put. Now this is a bullish trade because you give up this money as collateral. So you agree to buy 100 shares of, in this case, CCIV at $20 per share. If CCIV closes under $20 per share by August 20th, you collect this premium for doing this, and that was $168. So my true break even on this, if I were have to buy 100 shares at $20, would be $18.33. I'm up $8 on this position. Like I said, I sold a $20 put for August 20th. I will have to buy 100 shares at $20 if CCIV is under $20. So this is actually a bullish trade. This is not a bearish trade. Don't think put and think bearish. This is a bullish trade 100%. I am agreeing to buy stock at $20 per share, like I did say, and I really have no plans on getting rid of this. If CCIV does, do what I think it's going to do, then I would probably just sell out of this, and to sell out of this, you would buy to close, so you'd have to pay this price. If we go back down to like $50, then I'll probably just buy it back to close it, keep, $116, $117 as free profit, and then ultimately take that money back into CCIV stock. So that is pretty much all I have for this video. That is everything you guys need to know. If you like the analysis that was provided to you in the video, make sure to hit that like button on your way out, as well as comment down below and consider subscribing to the channel. Now also, if you want to get totally free stock with no deposit necessary, no need to link a bank account, in about 3 minutes time, check out the link for Public. That is a great brokerage. They send your orders to lit exchanges, so they are not going through dark pools or other market making platforms. But also, if you guys want to be notified when I make trades in real time, check out the link for the buy and sell alerts. That literally pays for itself. It's very inexpensive, and you join a great community. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. I will see you in the next video.